Alrighty, we are live coming at you with session 21 of our Drowned Gods campaign, and let's get started. As always, reset your hero point pools to 1, and let's get the session overview from Akalupu.
It's gonna be a little bit.
Da, da, da. Did Akalupu forget to write down notes again?
No, Akalupu was dealing with a screaming child and just finally got a free hand.
Fair enough.
Akalupu was dealing with Kawalaka. He's the size of a child.
There you go. Or maybe he was dealing with Manawanui, who is also the size of a child.
This is not incorrect.
Oh, actually, before we do... Well, actually, yeah, do the recap and then we'll do it. Never mind.
Okay. I think this is correct. I also feel like I've definitely missed a lot. But anyways, Sneaky One throws coconut into boat being held by God, creating the game of Floating Jaw Nut, where a shark jaw is hung in a tree and you try to throw a coconut into the jaw. Pawalaka leads us back to the village where we are welcomed with a hero's welcome. We are even called on by the elders to recount our great tale. And then I know that a lot of other things happened, but either Akalupu wasn't there for them or I forgot to write it down.
Probably the latter, but yeah, a lot of other stuff happened. We actually had quite a bit of plot last time. So who wants to give the recap?
I remember PvOP dealing with some family drama.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I remember.
What about Manawanui?
Manawanui remembers that PvOP told his dad Elvis that he wasn't his dad, and then went to talk to Loki, and Loki told him that his mom was a unicorn. It was a unicorn posing as a human. A little poser. And then, he tacitly got adopted into I don't know what their family's name is, we don't have last names, do we?
Nope, you do not have last names.
Into the house of the house of two of the village elders, technically. And then...
Well, no, so Pele's not actually a village elder. She's she's the shaman.
Oh, I thought it was Pele, Bob Ross, and Loki.
Yeah, so the two village elders are Bob Ross and Loki, and then Pele is a whole other thing. She's the tribe's shaman.
All I'm trying to say is he's now in the family with two of the pillars of the community.
Yeah.
So. Seems interesting. Anywho, then Manawanui started building his tower.
Mm-hmm. And you've got like the foundation and the entryway to a door with no door in it.
I've got a door frame.
Exactly.
And then, what did Akalupu do? Akalupu, I don't think Akalupu did a lot. He just went to bed, didn't he?
Yeah, Akalupu was super active.
Okay. I just thought I was massively forgetting something. Anywho, and then we all decided that we wanted to build a boat to go find the parents of, or hit the mother of PPOP. And there's a time skip in which we taught the natives, I say the natives, we're the natives, we taught our tribe how to sew, how to make nets, started developing a written language, mainly for spells, but it can be used for other things, I'm sure.
You just every time you read a children's book, it starts summoning spirits that start attacking people at random.
Did you summon another diamond? Oh, that's an O, not an ooh. My bad. PPOP learned how to make woodwork. Right, he learned woodworking. Learned how to make a bow. If I'm not mistaken.
He hasn't learned how to make a bow yet, but he did start that process.
Six staff, if I'm not mistaken.
He did make you a 6 staff.
Gave it to the coolest member of the group. Akalupu learned how to cook and preserve meat,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like he learned one other thing.
So he was the one working on netting.
Nets.
So like
right.
ropes and nets.
And then we taught the people about fire as well. And then we all worked on the boat for a good modicum of amount. I think PPOP had the best.
But nobody rolled well on working on the boat.
Yeah, well, PPOP got to re-roll, and he got a 16. So he got, which was, I think, by far the best. So I think Mono and Nui got like a 12, and I think Akalupu got like a 9. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it was not good.
It was good. And then let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Yeah, no, I think Mono Nui just kind of pieced out to like build his hut. Akalupu kind of pieced out to go to sleep, and I think mostly it was PPOP going on his. Oh, but PPOP decided that Elvis is still his dad as well.
Yeah, he's decided he has 2 dads and a new mom.
Yeah.
We're just one big happy family.
Yeah. He has 2 dads, 1 mom, soon to be 2. Well, it depends. She might be a real Becky. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, that's pretty good. Yeah, most of it. So last time we picked up right after you guys had returned to the island and met up with Palaka, and he was very impressed by your big robot. And you guys head into the village, and like Akalupu said, you got a hero's welcome, and were able to retell your adventure, and didn't exaggerate even the tiniest bit about any of your exploits.
Not in the least.
And the very first thing that PPOP did when you came back into the village was to just like right in front of Loki and Bob Ross and Pele go, "Are you my dad, Loki?"
Oh, that's right.
Just popped right out.
But yeah, he said to talk to him later. And so after the feast and your storytelling was done, PPOP snuck away and hid inside of Loki's tent to ambush him. Unfortunately, he rolled pretty badly. The dice hated you that day. They really did. And so instead of ambushing Loki snuck up behind you. But then you did get the story out of him that at some point a visitor to the shores had come out, and to clarify, PPOP went and saw Loki before he talked to Elvis about the whole thing.
He did?
He did. And
you could tell him all that stuff. He didn't. He kept the unicorn stuff, I think, strictly to himself.
Yes, nobody knows about that except for Loki and PPOP.
Right.
So then now everybody knows that Loki's his dad within the group. That everyone has heard about. But yeah, so he told him that there had been a visitor to the shores some years back, and that the two of them had an affair, and that his mother had turned out to be a unicorn who had taken the form of a human. And that at some point she had to leave to go back to her village and had just disappeared one night, leaving PPOP in a basket along with the Triton's conch, which Loki then gave to PPOP before you left on your adventure. And PPOP tried to use the conch shell, but found out it was blocked, but kind of ignored that for the moment. And after that revelation, and Loki asking P.P.O.P. not to tell Pele about the whole thing, P.P.O.P. ran out, managing to dodge one of Loki's little tricks, and with the full intention of absolutely telling Pele about it. Then he went and talked to his father Elvis, and the two of them decided to still consider each other father and son. Not that that means much coming from Elvis, but very nice gesture from P.P.O.P. And then P.P.O.P. clocked him in the face with a coconut and ran off, laughing maniacally. At which point Elvis tried to give chase, but then somehow mysteriously got 3 more coconuts, fell out of the sky and hit him on the head, and then he fell down a set of stairs that didn't even exist. Yeah, and from that point, P.P.O.P. went and found Pele. Well, actually, first he went and found Sammy and talked to her, and Sammy agreed that he should tell Pele about it, so he went in and did just that. And Pele was actually surprisingly understanding, and in fact said that she had already known about it, and that Loki wasn't nearly so good at hiding his exploits as he thought he was. And she also was kind of willing to consider him an adoptive son and welcome him into the family. Also, during that, Pele managed to force some corrections to your story out of P.P.O.P. And so now Pele
Weakling.
actually... What?
I just said weakling.
Yeah, he did that. Like I said, the dice hated him, so he botched that deception check pretty badly. So she was able to force out some corrections, and she actually now has a better idea of what actually happened to you guys in the spirit world and on the rest of your adventure. And he then decided he would still go back and spend the night in one of the communal huts with Elvis. Akalupu met up with his mother, brothers, and sisters and spent the night with them. And then, yes, Manawanui had taken the night and made some progress on making himself a tower so he didn't have to live in his sad Eeyore hut. And so the next day you guys met up to at your usual spot, Manavanui's sad Eeyore hut, which P.P.O.P. and Akalupu have been evidently gaslighting Manawanui for years by slightly tilting it further and further each day, but then telling him that it was always like that, and it's not tilted more than it used to be. But then they went over to the beginnings of Manawanui's new house and discussed what to do that day. And or I think they went and met Pele first, actually. I forget, but it doesn't really matter. So you guys went with Pele and asked her about the spirit and about the whole username and password debacle. And unfortunately, she didn't have a whole lot of useful information for you guys. She was able to connect a few pieces together, but not a whole lot. Oh yeah, also the night before when P.P.O.P. had gone to meet with Pele, he had touched the skull again, and this time he saw a blue face, except instead of a woman, this time it was a man, and he was able to also tell that the person seems to be inside of some cylindrical object. Which, out of character, Jason said was like an escape pod or something.
Maybe.
Sleep pod. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so she didn't have a whole lot of useful information, unfortunately. Then you guys met up back at Manawanui's new place that he has started, which he insisted that everyone walk through the door frame, despite the fact that none of the walls exist yet. And started discussing your future plans, and P.P.O.P. decided to look into what was clogging up his Triton's conch at that point, and managed to shake out some sort of a map written on a hide that was tightly rolled up and sealed. And examining the map, it seems to show the location of an island. But PPOP does not remember the fact that the gift was actually from his mother, so has not connected the dots at all to what might be there. And then you guys started your plan. You decided that that would be a good place to go next, but your boat is not only kind of held captive by a giant robot, but also insufficient to the voyage that you would need to undertake, because the island is something like 12 days away and you can only carry 4 days worth of food, so you would be very dependent on what you could catch while you were out there. If you took your current boat, plus it would take quite some time, given your boat only moves 1 square per, or half a square per day. So with your current boat, it would be like a 24-day journey. Yeah, so that is when we hit our time skip, and that brings us to the question. So I put out on Discord the question of how long we wanted the time skip to be. I think pretty much everyone answered with skipping 5 to 6 years, where you guys are in your 16 or when you're 19 to 21 years old, but then also let's talk about it at the next session. So is that the whole conversation? Just, yes, let's do 5 to 6 years and you'll be 19 to 21 years old?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else unless we want it to be like full-on adults.
Yeah.
Akalupu also gave a thumbs up.
Cool. Well, then that's we talked about it, and yes, so we're gonna do a 5 to 6 year skip. And yeah, so then you guys worked on your different projects. So the things you taught to the village were spinning, weaving, fire, cooking, the beginnings of a writing system, smoking, curing, and salting food, as well as advanced woodcrafting. And then for resources on the island that you developed the obsidian, the hide, and the wood, as well as Manawanui worked on alchemical reagents with Loki. And then the projects that you worked on were, of course, the tower house that Manawanui was working on. Akalupu worked on netting as a way to store things as well as for fishing. And then PPOP... And what?
A dock.
A duck?
Dock.
Where you park ships.
Oh, a
ship
dock.
parking spot.
All right. So we will say that you have created a dock as well. Not that it's really that necessary, given the scale of the ships you have. You know, they're basically glorified canoes.
Yeah, but Akalupu wants to be able to load food onto boats easier without worrying about possibly getting the food in the water.
Fair enough. I mean, you can just drag the boat onto the beach. But, like I said, you can have a dock. It's fine.
Akalupu doesn't like getting his feet wet.
Akalupu likes to swim, so I don't know why.
Just when he's carrying meat.
You're literally a shark.
Just when he's carrying meat.
And then PPOP also crafted a better walking stick for Manawanui, so he now has a +1 walking stick. And then he also made himself a ghillie suit. And one thing, Jason, that I didn't think about last time, obviously a ghillie suit only works in like matching environments. So what is the general type of environment that you made the ghillie suit for? Like, is it for rocky areas? Is it for beach areas? Is it for jungle areas? Grassy areas?
I don't know. I'm gonna say probably grassy areas or like forested areas.
Yeah. Or I guess honestly the main...
I had a green ghillie suit in mind.
Okay, we could honestly just go by color. That makes sense enough to me. So green areas. Make sure you add that to the notes on the ghillie suit. And then if you're wearing it, you get a +2 bonus to your stealth checks. And then of course you guys worked on the boat. So we'll be skipping forward a number of years before we resolve all of those different projects. So let's get some montages, and let's start with Manawanui. What kind of stuff were you up to over the time skip?
So Manawanui worked on his tower, usually at night. No, he worked on it during the day, and at night he would take strange materials and compounds and mix them together and trying to mix that with his magic, and creating very strange glows coming from the his little overlook through the forest.
There you go. And we'll say you've gotten like 3 stories on your tower in those years.
Oh, cool.
So it's getting pretty tall. Tall enough that even Akalupu has stopped using it as a diving board. Also, one of those evenings as you're coming back to your tower after a hard day's work, you open the door that actually does exist now. Take a step inside, rubbing your tired eyes in preparation for another night of hard work. When suddenly you feel you take a step and feel nothing. And then vertigo immediately sets in as you are just toppling head over heels through empty space. Looking behind you as you spin through empty space, you can see a portal close behind you. And then with a soft thud, you come to impact. And looking around you, you're in a familiar space. You are once again in the Topples library. And so, Topples says, it's been a bit, but welcome back. How have things been in the above world?
I must say I appreciated the first way I came in much better.
Swell. I'll think about that, but well, I have to say this one was rather amusing, at least for me. And the wicked smile through his you can see the wicked sharp-toothed smile glow briefly through the darkness that emanates from his hood. Well, I hear you have a bit of a problem with a username and password you don't know.
What do you know about that?
Well, I can acquire that information for you, and perhaps answer a few of your other questions, but obviously, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I'll need something in return.
What do you want?
Well, I could use, and you look, and he starts gesturing around, and he says, well, as you can see, I've recently expanded my domain, and you actually see, so before it was fairly constrained. It was very tall, but there wasn't a lot of horizontal space in the library. You can see now that it branches off in a few areas to what appears to be other similarly sized rooms off to the left and right. And maintaining such a large space, I need more of these golems to help out. So I need 2 souls should do it. There must be someone on your island you don't particularly care for.
Image of a half-fried boy,
right? And his very unimpressive and equally annoying father.
Yeah,
with the same name.
How exactly do you expect me to procure these souls?
So he reaches into a desk and he puts a red stone that looks rather familiar, perhaps similar to something that one of your friends might have picked up at some point on the table. And he says, well, I simply need you to exsanguinate them and keep this close to them. Make sure it sucks up the last few drops and it'll capture their souls quite nicely.
Like completely exsanguinate them?
No, not entirely exsanguinate them. Like I said, just keep it nearby and make sure it's doing its work at the moment of expiry, and that'll do it.
Oh. I don't know.
The blood
So you
is
gotta-
really less important in this instance, though that is a common use for these gems.
What does it do with if it just has the blood?
Well, I told you I'd answer a few questions after. If you really want to know that, well, finish the job and then come talk to me.
Well, I guess I'll be needing. Are they? So, do they continue on in this golem form, or how does that work?
Again, please leave all questions until after the presentation and or delivery of goods requested.
Seems sus.
You actually say that?
No, I think that in my head though.
Okay. Well, do we have a deal, or do I need to try to get Sammy to do it, or one of my other...
No, we have a deal.
Very good. Whenever you're ready, you just say my name 3 times in a mirror. No, I kid. I'll know when you're done.
Yeah. And must these be people?
Yes, mortal souls of sentient races are really the only thing that will help here. So if you're thinking about going out and killing a few goats or something, no, that won't work at all. Now, if you were to discover a small tribe of pygmies on your island or some other sentient race, that would work. It doesn't necessarily need to be human.
No,
You know, villagers always racist against pygmies.
Exactly.
Hey, man.
You know,
Just people, they would just grow.
just kill some kobolds.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you, the land sharks do not actually count as sentient either.
Okay.
They are
Side
semi-intelligent.
Are there? So Akalupu wouldn't make it. Cool. So there wouldn't happen to be a tribe of pygmies on the island. Is that correct?
No, of course not. I think you would have found them by now. Now, the potential of perhaps kobolds on your island is a little bit higher, but I know you all have your little thing about going underground.
Well, hand over the stones.
So he scoots it across the desk.
I don't know whether he's gonna grab them, tuck them somewhere. I assume he has a bag of some sort to stow them in.
Yeah, you have some sort of bag you can put it in.
Or just stow them in his bag.
Yeah. Very good. I hope to hear from you soon.
So, like, what happens now? What do I do?
Oh, the portal appears behind you, sorry.
Oh. I'm not sure what to do now. Meadow is gonna thoughtfully kind of look around and leave.
Alright, and then just as you're stepping through the portal, he says, "Oh, and I do hope you found the reading to be interesting." And then the portal closes behind you. He knows about the book.
Can I read the book, by the way?
So you still haven't quite deciphered it. It seems to be in some sort of like abyssal language. Just like the very lettering looks dark and twisted, you know, like the language of Morgoth.
Maybe that's the best thing to base a language off of.
Have you been using that as the basis for your magical language?
Of course not. That hasn't even crossed my mind.
All right, so very interesting. Good to know. Good to know.
Like, and every villager you taught, some reason, just like disappeared. It's weird.
Right? You know, they start learning to read, and then their eyes roll up, and they're just go all white, and they start like chanting while their head starts spinning like a top. It's very weird.
That's weird. If only there was some connection we could draw. Alrighty. Nah, he's gonna. Manawalu's gonna look at that writing and be like, okay. He's gonna try and decipher it, but he's gonna do his own based language or writing system.
Okay.
Because that stuff doesn't look. It looks no bueno. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't write down, inventory counts with that.
Yeah. And then I've been doing a terrible job trying to give this demon an accent. Topple should sound kind of Britishy. Kind of like, what's his face? Wolverine as, the musical one that Anna likes where he's a circus dude.
Oh, The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, kind of like that. Except more evil.
Okay.
But yes, I'm doing a terrible job of giving him a semi-British accent, so.
Yeah, it comes through. It bleeds through.
Oi!
I got the picture. Oi, listen, mate!
Oi, bruv, what you think you're doing?
They sell stones.
You think I didn't notice you marking on my book?
Yeah.
Oi, bruv. Anyway.
What you doing with my book, you tosser?
Exactly. Yeah, and so then do you go through with the acquisition of souls?
There wouldn't happen to be anybody dying currently with it.
You're gonna try and get out of it by like finding someone who's dying.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I don't gotta kill nobody.
The tribe is not very large, but I'll say if you want to, you could like mostly not be the cause of killing the volcano hermit guy who taught you how to cook. Just kind of help him along a little bit.
Well, it depends. Like, is he like how much time has he got left? Like, how much am I putting an end to that?
He's very old, so not a lot.
But he's such a nice man. Hey,
And you'll have to but he's like, because not only you have to find a way to be alone with them, because you're gonna have to bleed them out as they're dying. So you can't get someone who's already died, and you have to be in a position where you can bleed someone without everyone around you being like, why are you bleeding Uncle Gary at his on his deathbed?
Medicine, son. Do you know medicine? I don't think so.
Right?
And you should be like, guys, no wait, I think I found out a way to like help these people.
His
like, to
humors are
cure
all
them.
off.
Yeah, we need to balance out his humors. He's got not enough snot and too much blood. He needs more bile.
There you go.
So yeah, I guess I'll help the old man on a little bit.
Okay, so you're up. You're visiting him one day, and he's been sick recently, and very weak, and you can tell that his time is coming, and you manage to be the only one there as he's dying on his deathbed. He's just like, well, Sonny, I had me a good old life, I suppose, and I got to teach young'uns about nothing and just generally be an annoyance, so that was a good old time I had.
You did good, grandfather. I still call him grandfather. It's
I think you were just calling him old man before.
Did I? Okay. Well, you did good, old man. Did good.
Yeah. Well, when I go to see my ancestors, and if I end up where I can, I suppose I'll just have to haunt you or something. Can't just leave you alone to make your way in the world, and without finding some way to to just generally mislead you and send you the long way around everywhere. Well, I suppose my time's coming. Going to that beautiful pasture in the sky to count sheep or whatever it is.
Close your eyes and go to sleep.
The spirit of the volcano shall take me on as one of her many husbands.
Yeah. Totally. As he, I assume he's closing his eyes at some point.
Every time you think he is, he just opens them and says something else, just another non sequitur. And then you think he's done, and he starts talking again, and then finally you just push a pillow onto his face. Just go, shh, it's okay.
Once he, closes his eyes, I'm just gonna take a small, sharp object and just nick his jugular a little bit, and as he goes.
All right, and then he manages to open his eyes one more time and says, "It's so cold, Jemima."
It'll be warm soon. Okay, I pat his head.
All right, you press the stone to the wound.
I do.
All right, and similar to what had happened before with Akalupu's stone, it starts to hungrily draw the blood out. So it's not even just absorbing the blood that hit it; it's actively drawing it out of the body, with a slight sickening slurping sound. And then he eventually shudders once and then goes quiet.
All right, I'm gonna dig his grave. And put a little gravestone up there.
And then you remember to just before he died, don't bury me in the ground, burn me, or throw me in the volcano.
Right. Hey, he insisted. So, that happens to get rid of the evidence as well.
so you take the short path that he didn't tell you about up the mountain. It's nice and easy.
Exactly.
And then just chuck his body in the volcano.
More ceremonial than that, but yeah, basically.
There you go. All right. One soul down.
There doesn't happen to be any old people in the village, does there?
I mean, there's Bob Ross and Loki.
I don't know I don't think I could take them. So yeah. I saw what happened in the tournament.
Neither of them seems like they're about to kick the bucket either. But they are the village elders for the reason. They are pretty much there might be someone close, but they are pretty much the oldest people there.
Is there anybody who's very inexperienced at hiking the terrain?
There's that kid you shocked.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him up a hike.
He's bad at everything. He failed. Yeah. He got held back a year trying to get up to the top of the volcano, or 2 years, I forget. Is just generally he still hasn't become an adult, and everyone picks on him.
I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna show him the way up the mountain, and lead him on the most treacherous, rockiest parts, and hope he gets cut or injured in some way.
But that's not how it works, Mono Anui. We have to go alone as a child. That's the only way we can become a man.
Do you want to be a man? I'm just going to give you some experience in climbing and traversing the terrain so that when you go next year, you have a better shot.
I guess that makes sense. You did make it up that last year, or this year, actually. This year.
And I defeated the Guardian.
I really do want to make it to the top of the volcano so people will stop making fun of my voice.
Hey, Timmy, after today, no one will even mention your voice.
Okay.
So, once he gets injured,
all right. Let's get a survival check to see if you get injured.
He can't get injured. He's a paragon of survival skills. Hopefully. Alrighty, roll.
All right,
I got a 19.
Nice. Let's roll for Timmy's survival check. He got an 8.
Not quite the Paragon.
All right, so yeah, you do out hike Timmy and manage to get him to hurt himself somewhere. And you take him across the sharp parts with all the obsidian, and where you have to jump between the rocks, and he jumps but doesn't quite make it, so he's hanging off the edge of one of the rocks, and it's like, hold me up, Louie, I'm gonna fall on the sharp rocks.
Have you cut yourself?
Not yet.
Alright, I'm coming. Oh.
Save me, I can't hold on much longer.
It's not that far down.
It's like 10 feet onto sharp rocks.
Are you sure you have no cuts on your body yet?
Not yet.
Not just a little tiny cut anywhere?
I think I might have like some blisters.
Are they bleeding?
I don't know. I can't see my feet. I'm too busy holding on to the edge of this cliff.
Monolithy's gonna come over.
Pull me up, Scar.
Got a sharp rock in his head. And as he grabs his hand, he's gonna like cut it into his hand a little bit.
All right.
As he pulls him up. Oh, look at that! Look at that cut.
Ow!
Sweet you. Here, I've got this. Got this native stone herb. Just press it against the wound. Press it against the wound, Timmy.
Okay. It's making me kind of dizzy.
No, just keep it there. That's the feeling of you healing. It's sucking all the poison out.
All right, he falls over. He like faints and falls off the rock onto the sharp rocks below, and also throws the rock off to the side. It's like 5 feet away from him now.
All right. He falls off the cliff, you said?
Yeah, he fell off the cliff that he was hanging on to. All
right, well, Monolith's gonna scramble down there.
All right, let's get an athletics check for the scrambling.
This kid is a loser and everything. Can't even die. All right, come on, Monowanui. Let's see.
You know, I feel like it would have been easier to just shocking grasp him and then to deal with it afterward.
Dang it, I got an 11.
All right.
I'm gonna use a hero point and re-roll that.
Okay, cool. Roll 1. Roll 1.
Got a 2.
Did you roll a 2 or was it a 2 total?
It was a 2 plus 6, so 8.
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna not make it down safely.
Okay. Well.
Alright, you take 10 points of damage as you slip on the way down and also fall onto the sharp rocks.
Alright. It's fine. It'll all be fine. Monowanui is gonna grab the stone, go over to Timmy. Is it Timmy? I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna go with Timmy.
Timmy. Okay. I'm gonna go over to Timmy. Is Timmy, what's the state of Timmy?
So Timmy is unconscious but still wheezing, so he does seem to be alive at the moment, though he is bleeding from multiple lacerations now that he's fallen on the sharp rocks.
Monowanui is going to take the rock and press it up against probably like what looks like might be one of the more fatal injuries that he took.
All right. And then once again, it begins to hungrily draw the blood in from around it. And then after a few moments, Timmy also shudders and goes silent.
Go into that good sleep, Timmy. Cool. Now I'm going to go away. I'm going to cast I assume, is there anywhere like nearby that would look good for hiding a body?
You could throw them in that cave where the blood flies attacked you.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. That's a great idea. Place all exsanguinated.
There you go. All right, yeah, and it takes quite some effort, but you do eventually manage it. And then you cast heal on yourself, presumably, so that you don't have any signs of wounds. Take a bath.
Of course not. That'd just be weird. Cool. And then I'm going to. Also, I told Timmy this on the DL. He's like, hey, let's just go right now. We can't afford any hesitation. We need all the training you can get.
No. And luckily, Timmy is weak-willed and not very intelligent, so. Alrighty.
Alright, I guess I'm just gonna wait that night in my tower for not Talbot.
Topple. Topple. Like a tower, like a tower toppling over.
Yeah, that's why we don't invite Akalupu here anymore.
Right? Yeah. The reason you're only up to 3 stories is because you've had to restart like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, too many times Akalupu's gotten towards like the supporting little beams before the wall was sound enough.
All right. So you're that evening you're working on your alchemical reagents, and you go to kind of write something down in the new language that you've started, when suddenly the books just like starts to move and twitch slightly, and then suddenly it leaps at you and swallows you whole, and you find yourself once again in the library.
You know, I didn't think that it could have gotten any worse from last time.
Well, I do try to be a bit creative where I can. Come, I believe you have the souls I asked for.
Maybe a show of good faith first.
Very well, it makes no difference to me. What do you want?
Start by telling me the username and password for the giant, the metal guardian thing. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, of course. Genie. Well, you already know the login. You were able to acquire that through your questioning. So the login is JINI, Genie. And the password is Guardian. Spelled GUARD1AN. Did I spell Guardian correctly? My spelling is terrible.
Let me see. Let me write it down. Wait, how did you spell it exactly?
GUARDI. The Guardian with an A. All right, I can type things, but I can't spell them in my head. I'm terrible with that.
Also, I thought it was a 1, not an I.
I know it was. There we go. Okay. I've written it out, so now I will be able to do it correctly. I'm terrible at doing these out loud. I'm telling you. GUARD1AN. Actually, no, it's another at. I'll do another at. GUARD1AN.
Not sure what all of those mean, but
put that in chat for you.
Here's the stones.
So you reach into your pocket and or your pouch where you keep the stone, and it's not there. And you look back up, and it's already on his desk. He's already kind of like holding it, turning it back and forth, examining it like one would a finely polished diamond.
Are they still alive in there?
What was that?
The souls, are they still alive?
Well, alive not exactly. Clearly, you've already dealt with that bit.
Well, you know what I mean. Are they in there?
Yeah, not the way you would consider. It's not as if they were, still entirely aware of their surroundings or their situation. Now, they won't return to the spirit world as they normally would. Instead, I can harness them to give the spark that I need to create a golem.
So then, tell me about where I came from.
Where you came from. Well, there's a bit of a mystery there. I'm aware of some details, though I haven't been tracking you for very long, and what I've been able to dig up is a little confusing. It seems that your family from before traveled quite a bit. Whenever I try to track down their location, I'm unable to find any specific location, so whether they never seem to settle down on any particular islands, but we're here, there, and everywhere, trading and raiding and whatever else. They seem to have quite a unique boat. I was able to find a name attached to events surrounding your family. Lady Luck, Lady Liberty, something like that. Here I have notes, and so he starts flipping through his book. And I am also looking through my notes, because I've forgotten what I named it. Where did I even put it? Oh. Here we go. Ah, yes, here it is. The Green Lady.
Is that all you have?
Well, aside from the obvious, I would imagine you are already aware that you are not human, correct?
I don't know what not human would be, but I know I'm not like everyone else.
Yes.
What? I'm adopted?
Yes, indeed. You are what is called Elven, though I doubt that means much to you. You will have quite the impressive lifespan compared to the humans around you. It's also
what do you mean?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. What do I mean? You will have a significantly longer lifespan than a human. Was that not self-explanatory?
Like the old man on the mountain kind of long?
Oh, you will easily surpass his 50 or 60 years.
It kind of mind boggles Mono anyway for a bit. Just a little bit stunned.
Yes, assuming you manage to not get eaten or otherwise killed in that period of time. Obviously, a long life does not equate to immortality.
What is your goal? What do you want to get out of our partnership?
Yes, well, I alluded to that previously, but I suppose I can give you a little bit more detail. I am interested in power. And when he says that, once again, his darkness aura kind of expands around him, and you see the wicked smile glowing from within his hood. And I gain power through contracts, such as the one with you and with my other employees. Now, it is a mutually beneficial contract because I gain power in balance with the power of those with whom I'm contracted, meaning the more powerful you and the others are, the more power I gain from it. And that power, in turn, I am able to use to, well, you saw the expansions to my domain here. That's just a small representation of what I'm able to do. I simply need more of it in order to, let us say, surpass my neighbors, establish safety and control for myself, and perhaps eventually take over a position of even greater power, which will allow me to bring in more employees and continue the process.
What do I get out of this? It seems a very one-way relationship.
I don't think you quite appreciate the source of your power. Your spells, your familiar, everything you're able to do, that comes from me. Now, your natural affinities for magic, the piddling trifles you were able to cast before, those were, of course, based off of your own bloodline and what you were able to gain from that. However, what I offer is significantly greater than those. I'm sure you've already noticed the added flexibility and power that you are able to access now. And it will only grow from there, quite exponentially.
What do you know about my friend PPOP?
I know some things about him. I'm afraid you'll have to be more specific.
Far, far away, PPOP stirs in his sleep.
Right?
Well, I forgot how much Manawanui and the rest of the group knew about PPOP's situation.
You know that Loki is his father, and that is it.
Like, for instance, who's his mother?
Ah, yes, Becky.
I knew it.
Well,
That's
this isn't
weird, strange name.
Yes, well, I've only done a cursory investigation to those surrounding you, and as they don't interest me too much, but if you do want, I can dig up a bit there. However, I feel something that would be of more interest to you would be perhaps a few new spells to add to your repertoire. Don't you think that would be a better use of both of our time?
I suppose so.
That's
He
quite.
says, squinting skeptically.
Well, you already actually possess a tome which has the information you would need. I can provide you a lexicon which would allow you to decipher it. It would still be slow working for you, as the abyssal language is not an easy one for mortals to grasp, but I think a few of the easier spells would be quite achievable for you.
All right, then.
Yes, I've
Hand over this lexicon.
So he kind of snaps, and a golem comes skittering over. This one is made out of forks.
Forks?
Yes, there was a spoon golem. This one's a fork golem.
Oh, that's right.
And he hands over a small leather-bound book of some sort, which is very thin. There seem to be only a few pages in it, and he says, "I've already taken the liberty of writing one out, and I must say I'm rather impressed with your new language. It seems to have some potential, so there you are. You should be able to read this already." And so he hands it over, and if you open it, it's a black leather book, kind of like pocketbook size, so probably 4 or 5 inches tall and about 3 or 4 inches wide. And when you open it, there are 3 neatly written pages in your own language, and in fact, it's written with better handwriting than your own somehow. In your own language. You're very off put by that, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of off-putting things that's happened.
Yeah. And you're able to read it, and it actually does have some information that would allow you to start deciphering that abyssal language, where it's trying to explain a few of the more basic concepts.
Gonna be a bit like drawn in by the book, reading it for at least a few moments.
All right. Well, I actually have other matters to attend to. As you know, you are not my only employee, so there's nothing else.
How do I talk to you if I want to talk to you?
I see. Well, if you really need to contact me, just ask your friend there. And he points to Reginald. He can easily. He's a conduit, shall we say, a connection between the two of us. It should be easy enough for me to hear anything you have to say through him, and if it warrants my attention, then I can give it some.
Well, I guess I'll be going then. One more question.
Yes.
How many other people that I know are your employees? I think is the word.
That you know? Only Sammy. If it wasn't more trouble than it was worth, I would already have cut her loose, but she's not entirely useless, just not quite to my tastes. You, however, you are a go-getter.
Yeah. Sure.
Alright, so the portal is already open. Do you head out, or do you press the matter further?
How many employees are we talking here?
Well, I've made some gains since I brought you on, and he kind of does like a quick mental math and says, a few dozen.
Well,
don't worry, most of them aren't even in your plane of existence. I doubt you'll interact with them.
What would happen to me if I were cut loose, as you said?
Yeah, you would lose all spellcasting abilities. You might retain the smatterings of magic which you were capable of before, but you would be back to being limited in terms of your growth.
Well, I'll let you get to your business, suppose.
Very good.
I'm gonna take that lexicon back and keep studying it.
Nice. All right. You can choose 3 spells of any level that you can currently cast to add to your book for free.
See, kids, killing people's not bad.
All right. So, Jason, what was PPOP up to over the time skip?
Prank wars.
Epic prank wars.
Yeah. I've been honing my stealth even further, just testing my limits with Loki. And Elvis a little bit, but he's too easy.
Yeah. Yeah, Elvis, like, you don't even have to prank him on purpose and stuff happens to him. Like, half the time you started trying to do pranks, but half the time he just figured it was his normal luck and didn't realize that you'd done anything, and it wasn't fun that way.
Yeah, I've made a habit of just wearing my ghillie suit, like, in the middle of town meetings, and trying to see how long I can go unnoticed before people are like, where the hell is PPOP?
Nice. Do you want to roll stealth to see how well that's been going?
Sure.
And of course, give yourself the ghillie suit bonus.
Stealth. Roll. +2 equals 19.
Nice. So yeah, you've been quite successful.
I just wanted to shout out that I rolled a 6.
Right.
And it's a 19 with the ghillie suit.
Very good. All right,
so
let's see.
I'm pretty sneaky at this point.
Let's
Finally.
see. All right, Loki has been getting the better of you overall, though.
Yeah,
because he
well,
managed to roll a 19. but
I hate him.
but you're given about as good as you're getting. In terms of prank wars.
Yeah, other than that, was I able to finish bow crafting? Have I been able to work on my archery? I'm envisioning like a Robin Hood-esque training montage.
Yeah, let's get another crafting check. Let's see if you're able to make yourself a short bow.
Oh no.
I believe in you.
9.
All right. Yeah, I'll give it to you. So you've managed to make yourself a short bow. It's not the best, like you haven't really perfected curing the wood yet, so it will be subject to the normal breaking rules for wooden weapons every time you use it, which I believe is a 25% chance breaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a chance that it'll just like snap in half when you use it, but you do have a standard short bow and craft yourself like 30 arrows or something. Yeah, what is a 25% chance? And then which of your families have you been spending more time with? You know, the Loki and Pele side, or the Elvis and your many half siblings, well, quote unquote half siblings, now you know, not siblings at all side.
Definitely the Loki side. Elvis is always off with some new girl.
Exactly. Yeah, so you as you've been spending more time with them, and you've gotten to see more of the family dynamic. And it started to make more sense, where Pele and Loki are actually a pretty good pair for each other. Where Pele mostly finds Loki's antics amusing, but it seems that Loki generally gets off on like the danger. It's not fun for him unless he has a chance of getting caught, and he almost seems to want to get caught and to get into trouble. And so Pele's reactions are generally more to kind of feed into that than any actual annoyance on her part, though there is some of that as well. But you've kind of found that the two of them, despite all indications, actually do make a decent pair. And then, you know, they kind of have like a loving relationship, especially behind closed doors. You know, there's a few times where you've accidentally walked into, you know, the hut and regretted not knocking first. But then also have an open relationship. You've seen that Pele also gets some on the side, but both of them kind of just don't mention it, as it is not considered, you know, kosher among the tribe in general. Pele is generally the better of the two at hiding it. And then Loki doesn't get a lot on the side, from what you can tell, mostly because he's ugly and annoying.
Girl, you ugly.
And then another thing, and I'm gonna leave this one up to you. You have found out whether or not Sammy is your half-sister. So, is Sammy your half-sister? So, like, is she actually Loki's daughter?
I'm picking?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Any input? What's the difference? I feel like it doesn't matter to Peepiopi.
Probably not, but just to have it established.
I'm gonna say yes, we're half siblings. That way, if Topple tries to pull some shit through Sammy again, I have very good justification to shut that down.
There you go. Not that that is actually particularly taboo in your tribe.
Well, it should be.
I mean, it
Added
should
to a
be,
list of
but
toppers.
you know, you've got only so many people to choose from the pool on the island. Most of you are pretty related at this point.
I guess that's true.
Alrighty. And then Akalupu, what have you been up to?
Sorry, had to unmute myself. Akalupu has been mostly just trying to build his nets and boats and exploring all of the different women on the island.
Yeah, and then just like multiple epic training montages.
Basically.
All right, and one big moment is during one of the annual like, what do we call it? I feel like there was a name for it, but yeah, you know, when the children come down from the volcano and there's the big party afterward, and then you have, you know, all of the events. You managed to win the wrestling competition, beating out in the very final round your brother Palaka and claiming the title of the strongest one on the entire island.
I will become the strongest ever.
Exactly.
I want to be the very best.
And that night, after imbibing quite a bit of the sea foam, Akalupu is wandering down the beach in a deserted area, just screaming at the top of his lungs about how he is going to be the very best, the best there ever was. And you are once again visited by Haka. Who once again in traditional Haka fashion explodes out of the sand and comes shooting at you with a fist of fury, which you then try to counteract, and you go in and there's a quite the struggle, but unfortunately once again you find yourself bested. And he says, "Well, little one, you're not there yet, but eventually you or your descendants will be able to defeat the great Haka."
Yes.
And then he leaves you buried up to the neck in sand. All right, so
Come back here, you yellow belly bastard. I'll bite your legs off.
right. Okay, so now if everyone will turn their attention to the ship sheet, it's time to build your new boat.
Ship sheet.
Oops. Click the wrong thing.
All right, so there should be a second tab called Sheet 2 on the bottom. That's going to be your new boat. Your bone outrigger is still there, clasped in the hand of the robot. You do have the username and password, though. But your size of that boat is pretty well set, so if you want to make something bigger, you're going to need to make a new one from scratch. So I assumed that was your intention and not to just try to upgrade the old one.
Yeah.
All right, so type is still outrigger because that's the only type that you know how to make. But we'll need to decide, are you going for big, tough, but slow? So that would allow you to carry more like supplies with you. It would make it so you had more durability, but you wouldn't really be getting any improvement in speed. You wouldn't get worse, but it would still be at the 50% of average, so the 2 days to cross a square. Or are you going for smaller and faster and nimbler?
I say probably larger.
I agree.
Okay. So you'll be going for one that's got like max crew of 8. Modification slots goes up to 3. Speed is going to remain at slow. Come back to weapons later. Durability is going to go up to 30. Armor remains at 5. Armor class is still 10 plus the navigator skill. Your turning is going to go down to 1 square. So that means in order to turn the boat, you have to move 1 square, and then you make a turn. That only matters in combat. I don't know. You're not going that big. I think it's still probably perfect. Once you get to like actually bigger boats, that would start getting worse. But right now, you're still relatively nimble. And then storage is going to remain at 4 slots, but the storage, like if you were to fill a slot of storage with food, it's based off of the max crew. So it's, 1 day's worth for a crew of 4, but now that it's a crew of 8, then if there's only 4 of you, it's 2 days worth, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So what is this boat like? What do we want to put in the description? So it's wood in design, or have you integrated other materials?
Probably just wood.
Yeah, I don't know if we have any other integratable materials into it. What we've got? What, obsidian, rock? I mean, we probably put some rock on the bow, to make it.
I think we do some obsidian inlays in cool patterns.
Okay.
Like spikes.
What are the sails like?
Green.
Kind of triangles.
I wanted to cover them in the ghillie suit stuff, but the rest of the crew said no, so we just made them green instead.
Because, green will blend in on the ocean.
Cool.
It kind of will. The ocean's kind of green.
Yeah, if you want like a seafoam green, it would work.
We just made it so we like look like an island, So we made like the spikes and the obsidian look like hills, and then green trees. We just look like a floating island. It's gonna be great.
Are there any patterns on the sails? Like, I'm honestly fine if you want to have ghillie sails.
I vote we have ghillies.
I second that.
All right.
We love the ghillie sails. It just adds some character to the ship.
Exactly. All right, weapons.
yeah.
So I already heard one. Obsidian ramming prow.
I like it.
You have any other weapons? You don't really have the technology for like ballista or catapults yet.
Special seats where we can like hit people harder off of them without like losing our balance.
So that'd probably be more one of the modifications. But yeah, do you want seats that are just like, it could also be a place that you could strap yourself in during a storm, that sort of a thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like how like fishing boats have, where they've got like kind of more sturdy seats for like when you got to do stuff.
All right, seats and rings to secure yourself in place. All right. Anything else?
A water tank.
Okay, I like it. I think
Like,
that would
so
actually
when it
be
rains-
Or like fresh water. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I like
Can
that.
it have the ability to tow a lifeboat?
We could just keep the lifeboat.
You're
on
not
board.
big enough to really like have a whole main boat lifeboat situation.
Oh.
Not even like a kayak for one person?
Well, you could say the outrigger is a detachable kayak.
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell kayak, evidently. I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
It's got way too many Y's and A's.
It's AYA.
Like that?
Kayak. It didn't update on my screen yet.
Like that?
Yes.
Cool. And then we'll do special storage, I guess. And then water tank. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have a level of technology that would allow you to even make a water tank? I think no. Because you would at least need to be able to make something on the level of a barrel. And that's not really possible with anything that you have. Like, you could make the slats for a barrel, but you wouldn't have any way to, like, actually hold them tight enough that they would be
Well, like,
waterproof.
We could do like a like clay pot type situation where it's like a like clay lined section with like a clay lid. Is kind of what I was thinking.
Well, then that would just be like normal storage. Like, that's just, you already have the ability to store some water in your storage. And mostly for water storage, you would want to use like skins, right? Plus, Sammy can just make water.
Can we make a mostly waterproof storage area?
So just like some sealed storage. All right, storage is sealed. There you go. So your storage is sealed. So those 4 storage slots we will consider to be relatively well sealed.
Cool. I don't know. That way, like, if we have like storms and like whatnot, it's not like, well, hope you guys wanted some soggy bread.
Exactly. Alrighty.
Yeah.
And then for your storage, I would assume you're just doing food in all slots.
I think for right now, probably. Yeah. Unless anybody else has any ideas.
All right, well, you can update that if you need to before we leave. And then a name.
Mono Anumi is going to suggest the Green Lady. Completely original to himself.
Akalupu likes ladies.
Akalupu has been drawing sexy ladies on the outside of the boat. That's what the
Don't worry about
obsidian is shaped into, is sexy ladies.
Don't worry about it. Definitely nothing that looks like Silicon Island.
What you drawing there, Akalupu? Booba. See, it will distract them. They will come straight to the booba. Then I will hit them with a stick.
Exactly. I will name it mental warfare.
All right, we're going green lady.
I like it. I don't know why I say I like it. I'm the one who suggests. I, for one, am for it, guys.
Alrighty. So that is your boat. So, do we want to skip to the send-off, or do we want to skip to you guys out on the ocean?
I'm good for either.
If we do the send off, Akalupu has a very large crowd of females that he is saying goodbye to.
Yeah. Take us with you.
Akalupu will carry each and every one of you in his heart because he is strong enough to carry all of you at once.
There you go. And then just to prove it, you pick up all 5 of them.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Anyone else at the send-off? So you've decided on... Oh, actually, first thing we need to deal with before you leave. You have a username and password yet. I would assume you want to deal with that before you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably have something.
Yeah.
Although, should we, as soon as we get the username and password, probably set up the Guardian to, like, protect the island?
Because that went so well last time.
Yeah, I feel like they might kill us.
we just need to, like, be more specific.
Well, that's a good conversation to have as a group on your way there. So you're walking there, and Akalupu...
Akalupu is worried about island. Without strong warrior such as myself, and only myself, how will island be safe?
Well, guys, let's not talk about like this with any certainty. I only have a few ideas on how to get it to work from study. Let's get there first and see what we can do.
Akalupu wonders, so how will we make it so that we can get back home and not make same mistake as Dead Man in Cave?
Or we just keep the key with us.
Well, but Akalupu is confused. Dead Man in Cave also kept key with him. Did not seem to go so well for him.
Well, just don't die in a cave by breaking
Yeah.
every single bone in your body. Problem solved. And I am kind of sad that you guys didn't talk to him. It would have been pretty entertaining if you guys had heard the story of how he died.
Well, you know, I didn't know he existed. Besides, he got to have a good relationship with not Monomanui, but the other one.
Reginald.
There we go.
Regimanui.
Regimanui. I like it.
There's really no good way to make a portmanteau of those names.
Rejui.
There we go.
Thus the Jew was born.
Da, da, da. All right, so you guys get there after some conversation, and the Guardian is still sat on the beach where he had slumped in before when you powered him off. At this point, he has vines and things growing on him over the last few years. There's some birds nested on top of his face. And he's still there, grasping your boat in one hand.
Is there like just like a trail of bird poop running down beside his eyeball, so it just looks like he's perpetually crying?
Pretty much. All right, Pipiopi, I believe you have the key.
There also may or may not be very inappropriate cave drawings painted on his underside.
Gee, it's almost like someone took some people out here and vandalized the Guardian.
Well, PPOP pulls out the key, does a little Sailor Moon flourish.
Huh.
Hoo-yah! Key activate.
All right, so do you guys remember how you turn him back on?
All right. Well, of course.
It's almost like someone should have written that down.
Because
We put-
he did give you instructions.
Guardian
The chip in the slot.
on.
All right, so you're gonna climb up to his hand and put the chip in the slot.
Oh, it's in his hand?
Yeah, he has a slot on his hand where you put the
Akalupu
key
remembers.
in before.
Okay.
Akalupu remembers. Because Mana Manue was being difficult. Akalupu will let Pipioppo go first because Akalupu doesn't have the key.
Wait, so what am I supposed to do?
Turn him on.
Akalupu goes up as everybody's just kind of waiting for the robot to turn on, and he tries to turn the key one direction, and it doesn't really turn that way, so he turns it the other direction.
So you've also climbed up the robot?
Yes.
Okay.
And Akalupu turns it 3 times?
No, I think just once.
5 times.
I think you just put the key in and turn.
Well, he turns it what ends up being clockwise.
Yep. It turns.
Kind of
it only
waiting.
turns clockwise.
Yes. And he turns it. Did Akalupu write this down? Because it seems like something I should have written
I
down.
thought it was pretty simple because I thought you just turned it, put the key in and turn.
Well, who's turning this key? Only one of you can do it.
Akalupu's turning the key. Nope, Akalupu did not write down how many times we were supposed to turn it. He turns it 3 times.
All right, so you turn it 3 times, and there is a brief, whirring, and then silence.
Just turn it.
PPOP turns it 2 more times.
All right, the creature, the genie, begins to whir to life because it was 2 times clockwise to turn him back on.
Hey, we each had something different. 1 time, 3 times.
I just want to
2
say
times.
Akalupu was the closest, but
I mean, closer than 5 times for sure.
But I got it because I thought it was 5 times, so I did it 2 times, which was the difference.
There you go. All right, so the thing boots up, and it rises out of the sand, displacing you, and the 2 of you tumble onto the sand below, but are unhurt, and it begins to tear itself free of the vines that have grown on it, and it says, Genie is active once again.
All right, log in.
Very well. Username and password.
Username Genie. Password GU at RD1 at N.
Username and password accepted.
Okay, yes, I guess, guys. Where is? Oh no, I guess. What can you do now that you are logged in? What can you do as a logged in user?
As a logged in user, you are now able to issue commands. You have admin access and are therefore able to issue any commands that are that this unit is capable of executing.
Akalupu jumps in front of him and says, "Crush that tree!" Pointing to a palm tree over to the right.
You have not been granted admin access, only that one, and he points it to PPOP, is registered as a primary user. The rest of you are secondary users.
Why is Manawanui talking to him then?
Manawanui can ask questions and he'll get answers, but he's not admin. PPOP had the key initially.
Add admin user.
Very well. Designate admin user.
Akalupu.
Akalupu, what would you like your username and password to be?
Akalupu, username, Akalupu, password.
Account created successfully with admin privileges. You better
Okay,
hope
one
that
more.
someone doesn't try to use that, because I'll remind you, you guys tried the password.
We
They'd have
did.
They'd have to get Akalupu as the username.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to know how to spell Akalupu.
They
Yeah, I
would
was gonna say.
they would also have to get the key, which is fair.
Yeah.
Add admin user Manawanui.
All right, well, just skip through it. Who all are you adding? Are you adding Sammy as well, or just Manawanui?
Everyone.
All right. Chi-Chi now has a password and username. Reginald has a username. You're all admin now. Now executing previous commands, and he goes
Do we
over
add
and he
any of the village elders or anything?
Whoa, slow you
you didn't bring any of them with
Akalupu.
you. But yeah, and he goes over
What
to
are
the
you, some
tree.
kind of narc?
He goes over to the tree and he takes one giant fist and just obliterates it into tiny splinters, leaving a small crater behind.
Akalupu, yeah, giggles.
Command executed.
Do you have any map?
That's your question. Do you have any map?
Any maps?
Oh,
Plural.
there is location. I do have location and area data stored.
Do we know the name of the island we're going to, by the way, or no?
No, you have no idea about the name. If you would like me to transfer my map data onto your PDA, I can. Please produce a PDA for me to transfer map data to.
Pick up a leaf. Look at the leaf. Look at the guardian. Look back at the leaf.
That device is incompatible.
It's gonna suck the leaf down.
Akalupu is going to ask the guardian if Akalupu had really big board. Could guardian draw map?
Unfortunately, I was not programmed for any sort of artistic expression. I am programmed primarily for violence and destruction.
Just like Akalupu. You friend.
Alright, what do we want to do with this guardian before we leave? Do we just want to leave it as a guardian of the island, but with better instructions?
Just have him follow you and solve all your problems by smashing everything that gets near you. Hey, Guardian, see that school of fish? Go smack it real hard and then bring a bunch back to us. Like
Akalupu takes offense at that idea because Akalupu is the great guardian who will solve all of everybody else's problems.
Do you have commands for Genie, or should I resume my previous instructions?
Do not resume previous instructions. What were your previous instructions?
My previous instructions were, and then you hear like a recording of a man's voice, clearly not Genie's own voice. And he sounds very panicked. You can hear like storm sounds in the background, the sound of like crashing waves and thunder. And over the dim, you can hear a very panicked man who says, "Genie, protect the island. Keep any dangerous dangers from approaching." And then just like inaudible static.
All right. How does this sound, guys? Protect the island. And only allow ships with a certain, well, no, I guess you could take that. Yeah, only allow ships that have left this island to return.
Do we want it ships or people?
Also, keep in
People.
mind, like, if you were then
No.
to have your descendants from another island try to come back, he would kill them.
Oh, this is true.
Or if you were to, like, set up a trading post, anyone that you sent to this island to trade, he'd kill them.
How about
There's a reason he's named Genie. Out of character. Be careful what you wish for.
Genie, what dangers face the island?
This island is relatively stable. Barring another major eruption from the volcano, it is unlikely that it would sink into the ocean and cease to exist.
What outside does this island, outside dangers does this island face?
The people on the island, you mean?
Yeah, the people on it.
It's a very different question.
That's the question. What outside dangers do the people on the island face?
Disease, starvation, predatory animals,
Jeez.
hostile tribes, a major natural events such as hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis.
Can you protect against those? Hurricanes and tsunamis and earthquakes?
It is unlikely, though possible, depending on the origin and cause of said natural disasters.
How about hostile tribes? How many times have hostile tribes tried to attack this island?
Define hostile tribes.
People with intent to do harm to the villagers.
I am incapable of determining the intent of any individual.
How many people have you stopped from getting to the island?
He gives a number. It's somewhere around like the 30s to 60s.
Okay. I don't know, guys. What are like the pros and cons of like keeping him around? Doesn't seem like he's actually done anything.
And we're all still alive.
We're only alive after surviving a perilous journey to the spirit world and,
Yeah.
sacrificing and reviving Reginald.
Yep, almost getting eaten by laser eye sharks.
Yeah.
That he
I say
launched at
we're all alive. Reginald glares at me.
you.
What happened to the person who created you?
I do not possess that information.
Okay.
Well, at least
It
Genie
is
didn't
also
kill him.
It is also inaccurate to describe my creator as a single individual.
How old are you?
I do not understand. What do you mean by how old am I?
When did you come into existence?
That information is unknown to me.
Okay. How long have you been protecting the island?
whatever he said since like the last time the guy logged in last time. I think I said around 70 years.
Oh, okay, that's right. Hmm. Do y'all have any questions for us? Akalupu?
Nope.
Hmm. Hmm.
How far can you see?
It depends on the elevation that I am at. Due to the curvature of the Earth, it is possible to see further if I am at a higher position than if I am at a lower position. Additionally, sight lines are generally restricted underwater, as it is more difficult for light to pass through water and the particulates in it than it is through the air. I am also
Can you travel
capable
on
of
land?
seeing quite some distance through an area lacking atmosphere. For example, at night I can see many light years away.
Can you travel on land?
Yes, I am capable of traveling over land.
Okay, guys. What if we set him up at the top of the volcano as a lookout, alarm system for the island? That way he's not killing people. That's up to us. We create a militia.
I like it.
And he's like our all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
And then he
Alright.
should probably stop all aerial threats, because if someone's coming in from the sky, they way outrank us technologically.
Yeah.
But what if
From, like,
you learn how to make airships and then come back?
Well, he won't attack us.
Then we'll
we're
make
used to it.
seaplanes and we'll come in on the sea.
There you go.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I
agree.
Alright. Genie, we want you to be our lookout from the top of the volcano. And you're going to sound an alarm anytime someone is approaching the island and gets within 500 yards. I don't know, a mile. How big is a mile in yards? Like, yeah, like 1,000 yards.
Okay, so
Why?
anytime it gets within, or I mean, you're not clarifying. Okay, so look out from top of volcano and sound alarm when anyone
Well, wait.
within a mile.
Of the island from outside of the island perimeter.
so this is just not going off all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna need to be very specific because I need exactly what you say, and he's gonna do exactly what you say.
Alright.
I hate
Sound-
this challenge.
Sound a 2-hour long alarm. If
2 hours.
2 hours. That's gonna be 2 hours.
Well, that way it's got a set duration. That way it's not just like alarm forever.
Well, we set up for like
Will
I
sound
don't
like
know,
forever.
most 30 minutes.
Okay,
30
fine.
minutes is a long time for an alarm.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
All right, sound a 30-minute alarm.
Anytime anybody from outside of the island, anybody isn't currently on the island, past a mile out line around the island.
Line.
Wait. Erase. Let's make this like more like 10 miles. Cause like we could see a mile away.
This is true. 10 miles.
Should we also specify an alarm that like the people in the village can hear?
Yeah, a loud.
No, don't just say loud. Because then it's gonna like deafen everyone.
An alarm loud enough to be heard in the village, but not loud enough to cause damage to people or buildings.
Okay. All right, so sound a 30-minute alarm, loud enough to be heard in the village, but not loud enough to damage people or buildings, anytime someone from outside of the island. And then at that point, your English stopped making very much sense. You said past a mile out line around the island.
Okay. Past a 10-mile radius. All right, so within if anybody who's not in a 10-mile radius of the island comes within a 10-mile radius of the island, sound a 30-minute alarm, loud enough to be heard in the village, but not loud enough to cause damage to anyone, damage to any villager.
All right, so sound a 30-minute alarm, loud enough to be heard in the village, but not loud enough to damage people or buildings anytime anybody outside the island comes within a 10-mile radius of the island.
Yeah. Anybody within an outside the 10-mile radius from the island.
All right, so spoilers, he gets set up and he immediately starts going off constantly because anybody is not defined very well and he's just going off for like birds and shit.
Stop. Any human?
What if you get attacked by elves or orcs?
Any sentient creature.
What if you get attacked by like a giant herd of land sharks?
Not really.
My land. Akalupu. Anytime a sentient creature abnormally dangerous carnivore.
I'll let you get away with that one. Okay, so it's just like I will not make you define exactly what anybody does.
Carnivore is. I'm glad.
Okay. I don't know how. I think it's like somewhat helpful. He's not. Do you want him to do any indication of like where they are? So it's not just there's an alarm again. Something within 10 miles is somewhere.
I have him face that direction and shoot out a light beam in the direction of the threat.
Should he also like far away they are and like continue giving updates on the distance every like I don't know 5 minutes?
Yeah, I like that.
Because that way, like if it's just like passing through that ring, then like L is actually coming towards.
And you're on mute, by the way, Anna. We're only hearing you through Abe's mic.
My bad. Did you hear enough? He is the one who has to like translate it anyways.
Let me see if I can get this.
You should like write it down.
In addition to that, Thomas was writing
No, I know,
it down.
but it would be easier if you wrote it down so that you could keep track of it.
Right. When any sentient creature or abnormally dangerous carnivore creature.
Yeah, we're just gonna like I said, we're gonna hand wave that one because otherwise it's gonna be like too much of a pain. Because like, what is how do you define an abnormally dangerous carnivore?
Yeah, right.
Like, a T-Rex is normally dangerous for a T-Rex. It's still gonna eat
Abnormally
you.
to the islanders. Then a 10-mile radius of the...
All of a sudden, since we got rid of the Guardian, we're like, wow, how come we're like suddenly getting sharks all of a sudden?
Yes, that is actually a thing that you've noticed. So there are more often sharks, and other things that didn't normally come here. You're starting to realize why you only had land sharks. One of the villagers almost got eaten by like a giant kraken at one point. Like, definitely stuff has happened because of the Guardian not being there.
So whenever a sentient creature or abnormally dangerous creature comes within 10-mile radius of the island, from outside that radius, the Guardian is to alert, comma, in a loud enough.
Alright, here's what I have so far. So, sounded 30-minute alarm, loud enough to be heard in the village, but not loud enough to damage people or buildings. Anytime anyone from outside the island comes within a 10-mile radius of the island, and point in the direction and put a spotlight on them.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
While continually every 5 minutes to give the villagers an update of how close they are while they're still within that 10-mile radius.
Alright. Cool. And we'll assume that you did that some point, like, during the time skip, so you've had a chance to, like, see it in action.
Yes.
Cool. Alright. Back to you guys being seen off. So you guys are on the beach, and it's a somewhat similar scene to last time. Akalupu is showing off. What is everyone else up to as you're getting ready to once more head off into the great unknown?
Mono is stowing his book and other writings and stuff in his. Do we have cabins? Do we have rooms?
No.
No, it's a tiny boat.
It's an outrigger canoe.
Outrigger canoe.
Oh.
You know, like in Moana.
Oh, so we don't have any like. Well, we have like small storage, but not like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like there's a below deck for you to go to even.
Alright. So he's throwing it somewhere in a corner, somewhere on board. Casting a illusion. Discreetly.
Alright. And we should also go over a little bit what you guys look like post time skip. Akalupu, you now look exactly like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I do a Dwayne The Rock Johnson smile face.
Right? You've even conveniently lost all your hair somehow. Gone completely bald.
I feel like Akalupu like never had hair. Like I feel like he was born bald and just like stayed bald.
There you go. Manawanui somehow hasn't changed. He still looks like a 13-year-old boy.
Creepy, but yeah. Just roll with it, it's fine.
Alright. How about PPOP?
I think PvOP looks like Paul Rudd. If we're sticking with our tokens.
There you go. And
But like a
then-
young Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
There's not much of a difference, no.
Yeah. So you've got kind of the 5 o'clock shadow and all that going on.
Exactly. Also, I gotta give the key and the username and password to, I guess, Pele and Bob Ross.
Okay.
Don't trust Loki with that.
Do you set them up with admin accounts?
Yes.
Okay. So that way they can.
Well, I was just gonna give them the username and password for the genie, like, catch-all admin account.
There you go. And
Right,
as
because
long
that's
as
the
they,
one that I logged in with.
yeah, and as long as they have possession of the key, they can claim admin rights. Cool. And then Sammy is now still a fairly slender and willowy, but now clearly, you know, more feminine now that she's in her 20s. Sweet. All right, and then what are you doing as a send off to the island? PPOP.
I have to do something else.
I mean, like, just what are you doing? Are you just in the boat ignoring everyone? Are you saying your goodbyes or talking to anyone in particular? Flipping off Elvis one last time? Tossing any coconuts at someone?
No. Feeling pretty solemn. Keeping to myself.
All right.
I'm an emotional black box.
There you go. And then Sammy is saying her last farewells. Not last farewells, but saying farewells to Pele and her sisters, and you know, hugs are exchanged, and then she heads off, and you guys set off on with your new boat once again to great adventures, and we shall see what surprises are in store for you. And then real quick before we wrap up, you guys can see Silicon Valley over here. And unlike previously, because you have a map to it, and PPOP, you have over the intervening years studied the map extensively. And in this case, you actually do know for sure the location of the island. So that's why I put the green circle there. So the only unsurety will be just where you are in
On the
relation.
map.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you get blown off course, you know, you might think that you're, you know, here when you're actually here or something, right?
Right.
But in this case, you do know the location of the island.
Cool.
Alrighty.
help.
So let's wrap up, as always, with what people have learned. So let's start with Akalupu. What have you learned?
Akalupu learned that he has a better memory than he thought and is much smarter than he thought. But that's not saying a lot.
He's much smarter than other people thought. Akalupu is you know, in his own
Pretty
mind.
convinced he's a little bit of a genius, you know, good at everything.
Exactly. Alrighty, what did PPOP learn?
PPOP learned that Manawanui is kind of a savage, out of character. In character, learned that, yeah, I'm not really sure. What did I learn? I actually learned how to make a bow and arrow this time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. And then for this, like for the low tech, we're just going to say that your arrows always break. So you can't, well, I don't know. I think like a 50% chance that you get them back. Should be low.
Yeah, I think it would be a miracle to get any of those back.
And then, of course, the chance of the bow breaking. But I'm sure that you'll be able to craft a better one in no time.
Yeah, I just gave myself a short bow.
Yeah.
In Hero Lab.
Yeah, that'd be correct. You gotta get a ways further to do like a long bow, and then of course like a recurve bow will be a bit. Might not even be this generation. And this generation should be wrapping up fairly soon-ish, because keep in mind, level 4 is going to be your level cap. So my plan is, so every 4 levels, you'll be able to do a generation skip. And so like once you hit those 4 levels, you won't be able to level up again until you settle on an island and, you know, do the generation skip. Alrighty, and what did Manawanui learn?
Manawanui learned that sometimes you have to help people move on into the great beyond, to progress and really just be a team player and help out all my friends.
There you go. Alrighty, well, thank you all for joining me. I hope you guys had a great time, and I will see you all at the next game.